Now, of course, we cannot do this interview without talking about Next to Normal. Incredible hit. It won loads of awards. It's won you half of kind of a Pulitzer Prize. You've shared it with the creative team with Brian Yorkie as well, who helped write the lyrics for the show. And now here it is arriving finally in London. Will you be kind of popping into rehearsals to say hello to the cast and crew? How involved have you been with our new production of this show?
I have to say that this is the greatest thrill. I've had shows of mine come through London and I think American Idiot and Bring It On and High Fidelity has had productions, and now SpongeBob.
Yes, yeah, SpongeBob currently on its way around the UK.
Yeah, and that's been so wonderful, and I haven't been able to necessarily be on the ground with any of those productions, and so this, especially for Next Normal, which hasn't had a production in London, this is really a dream come true, a chance for me to be opening something and to be a part of that. So I'm so looking forward to it. And I've offered myself as basically a resource. I'm arriving for these concerts, but I'm going to stay through the opening of the show. And however I can be helpful, I'm not there to do anything but just be a fan of everyone who's making this and offer whatever insight would be helpful. But what an extraordinary team that's making this at an extraordinary space. I always dreamed that Next to Normal would be at the Donmar, and so now this is happening. It really it's kind of mind blowing for me. So.
And we're all incredibly excited, as you say, people have been looking forward to this for so long, and it means a lot to a lot of people, this show. And it's very, very special to so many people for so many reasons. And I'm sure you've heard stories of fans of the show who have found it and and what it means to them. So I'm wondering, what does it mean to you beyond all the kind of acclaim and awards and reviews that you've gotten from it? What does the show itself kind of mean to you?
Well, it's a show that I started writing when I was 24 years old, and Brian Yorkie and I met in college, and we were reading great works and hearing anecdotes about what it is to make musicals and what it is to dig deep and find something that you feel needs your voice and that speaks to you and that could potentially do something new in the theater. And Next to Normal, which it was called Feeling Electric when we first started creating it, I never had any thought that it would get to where it got to. I mean, for Brian and I, just someone coming along and saying, I'll produce this, was a dream come true. So what it really means to me is it's, for me, the greatest example of how a dream can happen, and how as an artist, if you listen to something that keeps nagging at you, keeps telling you to be vulnerable and to be courageous and to find a story that, if it matters to you, perhaps it will matter to some other people too. That was the ultimate lesson in Next to Normal. And if you look at the trajectory of it, from second stage to arena to Broadway, especially that Broadway season, which was in the middle of a financial crisis here in the United States, there's so many reasons why it shouldn't have happened. And it did, and so I always take that with me to say, even if something hasn't gone the way that I wanted it to, or if I feel in a moment, that I'm nervous about how something is going, or fearful for any reason, that is the ultimate follow your instinct and your impulse stories. But it does feel like with Next to Normal, putting that out there and saying to people, you can talk about this, I just feel like if that story has helped anybody, then that's what I got into the theater to do, because I know for me as a writer, I want to be an artist because of stories that affected me in a visceral way.
So hopefully maybe you can pass that on to someone sat in the audience watching Next to Normal, thinking, maybe this is something I can do. Maybe this is something I can write a show or a musical or songs that help other people and make a difference and help break even more barriers that Next to Normal potentially started breaking down in the first place. So that's a really inspiring thing to hear from you.
With a show like Next to Normal, it's when you start down that road, there are going to be some people who are going to say, wow, what an original, exciting idea that could really affect people, and you should follow that. I can't wait to see how it goes. And then there are some people who are going to say, really, that's what you're going to write as a musical?
Yeah.
And so Next to Normal, by finding the success that it did, hopefully it can speak to other writers who might be hearing in an idea. And look, not every idea does want to be a musical, right? It's something that everyone has to kind of search in themselves. But I think there are a lot of ideas that some people might have been skeptical of, but through execution and passion and collaboration, it finds its way. And that's always inspiring to a writer who's sitting with an idea and wondering if they should follow through with it.
And that's yet another thing that theatre as a whole is about. It's about these ideas that can start as something really small and grow into something huge, with global productions, awards winning, and kind of really helping loads of people. How does it feel when you do kind of get stories of people that have kind of seen this show and like it's really helped them, they've found it and it's really helped them with something going on in their own life? How does it feel for you as one of the creators of a show like that to receive stories and to affect people in such a way?
It's very moving. It's very moving if something that I have created has spoken to someone and had an impact. We all, I think, can tell stories about where we found a something, whether it's a conversation or a book or a song. Art is such a big part of how people can connect and find empathy. And I just believe in the power of art to move mountains and really affect people. So I know I look for that in art. So if something that I've created has done that for someone else, that's the greatest thing I could hear.
And I'm sure that it must be such a privilege to get to continue to do that, and as well in other shows as well, for completely different reasons. We've got SpongeBob touring the UK, which is pure enjoyment, pure fun, pure escapism that people are loving as well for different reasons to Next to Normal. So it must be great to have such a varied career as well, right?
Well, the one thing that I always try to explore in the stuff that I'm working on, whether it's SpongeBob, Next to Normal, Almost Famous, is the human experience and getting to the heart of something.
Yeah.
I want people to in a moment hear something, feel something, and feel how it might affect their own lives, speak to their own lives. It was so exciting to see how resonant it was, how human it was, how this story of a town trying to save itself from the unspeakable and all of the messiness that comes with that when people are scared. You wouldn't have to say this is SpongeBob. You could just say that and people's minds would go to all sorts of things that would feel resonant today in the world. So whatever it is, Freaky Friday, again, the ultimate story of walking a mile in someone else's shoes, being able to understand what someone's going through by their experience. That's always what I try to investigate in the things that I'm working on.
Yeah, there's always something kind of much bigger kind of behind me. Maybe even if it's SpongeBob and it is this television cartoon of a sponge wearing trousers, that it can always speak to something much bigger. And that's another, we're going through so many reasons as why theatre is so beautiful, because it really can speak to such a breadth of human experience, as you say.
Absolutely. And now that as I said, I have 3 children, I'm watching them grow up and I go with them to the theater. They're interested in being theater artists. I'm so happy that, obviously I'm scared that they're going to this world because I know what's in front of them.
Yeah.
But it's affected them and shaped who they are, and it's made them such beautiful, empathetic people. So yes, I believe wholeheartedly in the power of the theater.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic time for West End theatre, and we are kind of, as you say, we're very privileged here to have so many theatres on a similar scale to Broadway. Now, I'm wondering as well, while you're here, what is Tom Kitt going to see? Have you got any shows booked? Are you planning on seeing any shows here in the West End while you're here?
I would love to. This is still all forming. My wife is actually putting together, I think, a list of things.
An itinerary.
An itinerary. So we haven't necessarily, I have to do a little more. I've been so sort of immersed in work here and getting ready for the trip that now I have to sort of concentrate on the trip. But yeah. I know I definitely want to go see Guys and Dolls. I'm not sure if it's still I think it's probably a very difficult ticket, but the ABBA show apparently is quite extraordinary. So
Yeah, ABBA Voyage, the digital kind of concert.
I've heard it's quite unbelievable.
Yeah, I've not been to that personally myself. I have been to see Guys and Dolls, and I can promise you, you'll have a fantastic time. Make sure you book a standing ticket because that's the best way to experience it, I've got to say.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for the advice.
There we go. Well, now you've given me some advice on kind of writing and theatre. I've been able to give you my top tip for visiting shows here in London.
What would you recommend that we see? I should ask you.
Personally, my favorite, which I was so excited was a revival was announced, is Groundhog Day at the moment. I don't know if it'll be here when you arrive. It's on until August the 19th. My personal favorite musical is Groundhog Day. I can't explain why, because it's such a out there kind of adaptation, a choice for kind of source material to turn to a musical, but they just did it so well. So my personal recommendation would be Groundhog Day, and of course, Next to Normal.
I will be seeing that for sure.
Yeah, you've maybe thought about kind of going to see it, maybe not so sure, but Next to Normal is also one.
Next to Normal a few times, I would imagine. Yes,
I've heard some good things about it. To be honest, I've heard some good things.
Good.
I wish you the absolute best time while you're here in London. I'll be going to be trying to make my way to your concert as well. I'll definitely be seeing Next to Normal. I've already got my tickets. And all that leaves me to say is thank you very much, Tom, for your time with us today. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you. It's been lovely talking to you too. As I said, I can't wait to be there. I can't wait for the shows Next to Normal. It's going to be a really beautiful time. So I'm really looking forward to it.